And we are back from our break. The party has succeeded in destroying the carpet that had wrapped around Lafdul, but he is not moving at all.
Does healing proficiency give you training in CPR?
CPR probably doesn't exist, but it does give you training in recognizing whether or not someone's dead or not.
Well, I will try.
Okay. Give me a healing proficiency check.
Without the healing back, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you don't need to use anything. This is just a regular check.
If I have a reroll, I will use one.
Okay. Yes, you do. Okay.
Good thing I used.
Yeah, I was really hoping for a 20. And just as a refresher, Braxon has 1 reroll, Finn has 2 rerolls, Ockar has 1 reroll, Leva has 1 reroll, and I, the Dungeon Master, have 4.
This was my final, I'm guessing.
Braxon's you used up your last one. So before Braxon, you do that. Solas rushes over to check on Lafdul. Lafdul is most definitely dead.
Oh
well.
I expect nothing less from Solas.
Solas will pray for a safe journey in the afterlife for Lafdul.
You're me.
I'm sorry.
No,
let me stop. I need to stop laughing.
I mean, if he's dead, we don't have a resurrection spell on us.
We do.
Your eternal reward in the afterlife, Lafdul. I'm sorry we cannot save you.
Yeah.
Braxton's going to say, do you know which of these rings heals him?
It won't work if he's dead.
Well, I
think he's wearing one of them.
I know, but I've got a ring that heals when people are injured, and I'm happy to swap over the other ring with that ring, and then
he's dead.
I could put a dagger in his hand and stab myself with a dagger and see if it helps him.
He's dead.
No, he's dead.
Well, we could try it.
We have to find someone. Cast a resurrection.
We either had to find resurrection or we had to bury him.
Don't we have?
I think we have the scroll with one resurrection casting, but
I think we've got that, and we've also got.
I don't. It's a bit risky to cast it.
Well, if he's dead, it's not going to hurt him, is it?
Yeah, so
it's
I think
not going to hurt him, but it might hurt the caster.
We should still try it. He's our friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, who has the resurrection scroll?
It might be back on the ship if we're unlucky.
I think it's in the group inventory.
Right.
Let me check the player information.
At least it has never been on my inventory.
Which would probably mean it's sitting in the library.
It might be on Lafdul because he's a priest. If you don't have it, let's search him.
He's dead. Let's search him.
No, for the spell that will cure him.
No, it's as a record. Leva has the elixir of life.
Right.
If that's what you're referring to.
According to our scrolls list, we do have a scroll of reincarnation.
Yeah.
We can reincarnate him.
Let's use the elixir of life. If Leva's got it.
Yeah.
Unless she's gonna forget that she's got it.
Well, the problem is Leva's character isn't here right now. Our player isn't here right now, which does make it difficult to let's see.
Well, while we're deciding this, Braxon's going to look sadly at the carpet and see if it looks salvageable.
Oh no, No, it is most definitely not salvageable.
Solas just curses the cursed item.
Yeah, I don't see a resurrection scroll in our thing on the player sheet, so if nobody has it listed, we might not have a resurrection scroll, but we do have reincarnation.
So I don't know if Leva has the potion with her or not. Since she is not here, I am going to make the executive decision that it is back on the ship.
Okay.
Along with that reincarnation scroll, because I don't think anybody claimed that.
Do we have any way to stop him rotting?
I mean, he's not really going to rot until a few dadays pass anyway.
So
Okay.
we're going to need to add an extra stop to our trip.
So Vordon Genva, they've rushed over and seen him unmoving, heard some of the conversation, and they will say in the most solemn way that they can, "We are very sorry for the loss of your friend. Shall we wrap him up and put him on one of the carts for the return trip?"
Yeah, let's
Yes.
do that.
Yes, I think that would be best until.
To bring him back.
Yeah, so we need to stop any animals eating him while we're going back to camp.
I mean, if he's on, unless you just leave him out in the open, that's a pretty safe thing.
Yeah, let's just wrap him up and put him on the thing.
Okay.
Any animal won't come to eat him if he is basically have one of us around him.
Knowing Lafdul's luck, a duck would try to eat him.
Quack, quack.
I don't
So
think.
do we wrap him up in a carpet then?
Oh, he's already wrapped.
I think that's disrespectful to the dead.
Unless someone has a carpet, another carpet to wrap him up in, I don't think that there's a carpet around.
I don't think we normally carry around carpets, so let's just wrap him up in cloth.
Sorry.
We don't have a flying carpet, so why would we carry one?
All right.
Yeah, that's true. A bedroll, maybe.
So,
does Lafdul have his own bedroll?
I think we just use some kind of canvas or cloak or.
He has an opulent carpet in his room.
That's in your room.
That's not with us.
do you have anything on you right now, like a bedroll?
No, just my cloak.
Okay.
Oh, we'll wrap him up in his cloak.
Yeah, they'll probably wrap you up in your cloak then. All right, so Lafdul's body is stored on one of the carts, and everyone gets back underway. The grabs are very somber at this point. You having lost one of your companions.
Braxon's going to take out one of his poorly made, poorly carved holy symbols of Patar, put it on top of Lafdul quietly and say, "Please watch over my friend, Patar."
All right. So you get going. You still have a number of hours yet to get back to town. But Lafdul is wrapped up in his cloak, laid out on one of the carts as you go. About 2 hours pass, and Lafdul, you find yourself wrapped up in a cloak, very traumatically reminiscent of that carpet. How would you react to suddenly waking up like that?
This is an indignifying way to go to the afterlife. But then again, this is Aravan we're talking about here. He's not exactly benevolent.
But would that be like a shock and you'd struggle?
No, it'd be like, I just sigh, just get this over and done with already. I don't even realize that I'm alive, I suppose.
Do you want us to roll wisdom checks or whatever to see if we hear the sigh?
Not yet.
And not mistake Lafdul for undead.
Yeah, he's a
Holy
zombie.
shit, zombie! Kill!
But Lafdul, I mean, would you just lay there with the cloak wrapped around you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Contemplating the meaning of existence.
You wouldn't be curious what Arvander looks like? What Erevan's realm looks like? You wouldn't be wondering about that?
Oh, I'd be totally... Well, I don't know. I mean, Lafdul's pretty young.
For all you know, you are in his realm.
Yeah?
I mean, do I hear noises?
Yeah. It's the steady sound of the gravs pulling along. Whether you'd realize that that's what it is, but it's more like there's just a rhythmic talk sound kind of thing as these poles hit the ground and push the things forward. Otherwise, there's no real bounce. It's more like a smooth wave motion kind of thing on these things as they're levitating along. There's some conversation, but it's very quiet, given that everyone is pretty somber.
I mean, Lafdul's got a good listen check, even though I'm smothered. Probably, or something, I don't know. Did they unwrap me?
Well, yeah,
Or
you're
put
wrapped
me
up in your cloak now. Wrapped up tightly in your cloak. And you definitely can feel the difference in the cloth.
Oh, I'm able to breathe now, apparently.
Yep.
Can I...
Listen check?
No, Lafdul's just completely bewildered. He's just contemplating life. Just staring into dead space. Just figuring out of how the indignifying way of dying.
How long would you lay there for?
Oh, he'd lay there for a couple hours at least. Then he might get bored. Then he might try and unwrap himself after about, well, I don't know, their 4th hour into their journey, I suppose.
All right. So, 2 hours after your break, well, another hour after that, you'd be getting back to town at that point. So Lafdul, the sounds are definitely changing. There's more low talking. There's some other chatting from around you. Some of the voices sound familiar.
You hear the calling of Erevan.
He must clearly be calling me. As I see if I can look out the cloak.
That'll require you to actually unwrap yourself. You're wrapped up pretty tightly to keep insects from.
You say the sounds familiar to me, yeah?
Yeah. But it's kind of muffled.
Would I have lost... I've lost all my spells, obviously.
Yes.
I'm not trying to cast spells. Would I have lost my granted powers? I mean, I used 3 of them. I've still got 1 left.
You would be able to use that one, yes.
Alright, he's gonna make himself invisible.
All right, there's a sudden shout as one of the gravs notices Lafdul's body disappear from where it's resting on the cart. How would the rest of the party react to that? It's just gone.
Solas is shocked and instantly starts to think what this possibly could mean, and
I'm going to yell out.
Hold on. Let Solas finish.
And if Lafdul doesn't appear in a few minutes, he is going to be thinking that this all was just elaborate prank from Lafdul.
Okay.
All right, Ockar.
Right.
Well, immediately, I'm going to shout out, "Oh God, dear Lafdul, you weren't even dead, were you?"
Braxon.
Do I hear that? If he's shouting that, do I hear that?
I shout that immediately.
Oh yeah, that cuts through the cloak completely. Braxon, how would you react?
Braxon says, "Wow, Patal's taken him to the afterlife."
Lafdul gives up and dies.
Before
Oh, okay, go ahead. Sorry, Braxon, finish.
Well, he'd have said that before Ockar started shouting.
Yeah. Finn?
No, that's not very usual.
That's what you say?
Yep.
All right. So, Lafdul, since people are not, like, speaking quietly anymore, being that it was a somber occasion because they thought that you had died. And in fact, for the viewers, he did. He just has a ring of regeneration, and that restored him to life.
I honestly thought the fire killed me off.
You can clearly hear the Ockar's shout through your cloak, Lafdul. So what do you do?
He sits up.
Yeah, but
It's
you're
very,
invisible.
very Yeah, I'm invisible. I just sit up. I was like, what's going on? I'm not saying that. I'm just unfurling my cloak so I can see.
All
People might hear me unfurl my cloak a bit.
The Gravs are talking to each other, pointing where you were resting, which you're resting on, like...
There'll be a disturbance, probably.
There's definitely a disturbance around you. Vordon and Genva are clearly asking the rest of the party members, what's going on? What just happened?
Braxon.
Well, hold
Dead.
on. Before you answer,
Sorry.
I'm describing this for Lafdul. Lafdul, you're resting on like camping supplies, the Grav's camping supplies and stuff like that. So that's what you've sat up to see. Some of the Grav clearly are very confused. They're pointing in your direction, speaking in their language, of course. Some of them look a little bit afraid. So it's like a mixture of fear and confusion on their faces. And you can see your party members. Ockar looks less than pleased.
Braxon's going to turn to Ockar and say, what makes you think he's alive? I mean, I'd love it if he was alive. I was praying to Patar enough.
You know what kind of god he follows? It's clearly some kind of elaborate trick he's been playing on us. He probably used one of his powers to just disappear right now to make us all think he just vanished to the afterlife.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lafdul actually speaks, and he says, wait, I'm not dead?
Apparently not. You certainly look dead to us.
Oh, wow. I thought this was my procession into the afterlife. I was contemplating life.
A voice inside your head, Lafdul, says, it's not a voice that you recognize it, but you've never heard it before. That says, maybe you are dead. Maybe this is your paradise. And then there's laughter.
Lafdul looks somewhat terrified at that notion. Who said that? He looks around somewhat terrified.
Lafdul, you're pretty sure that was Erevan right now.
Oh, yeah, wow.
No one else heard that voice, by the way. That was just in Lafdul's head.
Is this basically you're immortal or something? I don't think the universe is ready for that.
Braxon says to Lafdul, I put one of my my symbols on you and prayed for Patar to look after you. Maybe Patar brought you back to life.
Lafdul, you also find the invisibility breaking on yourself, even though you didn't do anything.
Solas
last gift from Erevan.
Solas just comments to Lafdul. So you thought you were in the afterlife and your first instinct was to turn invisible, huh?
Oh, I thought I was dead and I just heard Erevan speak to me. That's only happened twice now. Well, actually, no, once. I only spoke to an agent.
So Solas just
shocked, actually shell-shocked.
So Solas just shakes his head about the notion that if you go into your god's realm, your first instinct is to try and hide from the god.
So
hide? You do not know what you would expect when you go to the afterlife, Erevan.
I mean,
could be great, could be terrible.
I
Depends on
mean,
his mood.
if he is your date, I would think he would treat his servants with kindness while still pranking them.
So, Ockar, you've been chatting to your deity while you was dead, and then he sent you back, or Ptar's brought you back, maybe.
You mean Lafdul?
Oh,
So, yeah, sorry, Lafdul. How much did you talk to each other about?
he just mocked me. And maybe he's cursed me to stay alive. I don't know. I'm very
Or
confused.
maybe he mocked you because you turned invisible.
Well, I definitely didn't end that invisibility.
well,
Well, there you
I
go.
have a theory. I think, well, you have that special ring, don't you? Maybe it kicked in and saved your life.
Yeah, that ring saved me twice now. I've died 3 times.
I'm just surprised. I thought the fire might have canceled it out.
Oh, well, I did ward myself against some fire.
So,
Solas will cast healing to try and heal those fire burn damages.
Well, I assume I'm at 1 hit point at this point. Oh, actually, no, I rested for
Another hour, so you're at
2,
7.
and now at 7, yeah.
So I would have healed your burn damages.
So
Wow.
why did your deity mock you? Did he think that being wrapped up to death in a carpet was amusing?
Solas would chime in this point, and he still thinks that the reason why Erevan mocked Lafdul was that since Lafdul believed he was in the afterlife and he turned invisible to try and hide from his god.
Maybe you should take that carpet to your temple.
That carpet is cursed item.
I am not sure how to take this. I am so confused.
You want to roll a religion check?
Oh, no, I mean, out of game, I know what's going on, but...
Right, but you can roll a religion check to see to try and interpret it.
Sure.
I mean, if your deity likes you being wrapped up in a carpet, we can
Oh,
wrap you up in an ordinary carpet. Might be a bit less dangerous.
All right, Lafdul, you suspect that Erevan was quite amused by your antics and the way that you passed. Plus, having this ring gave it a great opportunity. It gave you a great opportunity to play a prank on your companions, even if accidental.
See, I told you it was all Lafdul's prank from the beginning.
Well, we don't.
No, you guys don't know that, but you can say.
I still think that this was some elaborate prank that he had planned.
And the mockery is just kind of Erevan's way of showing his affection. He is known for banter with those who enjoy banter. There are some stories of him and Garl Glittergold having quite the banter off. Of friendly insults leveled at each other for hours at end.
He's never had his deity speak to him, so he's so shocked that he's actually taken interest in him now.
I mean, one would think that you would be quite honored about it.
Oh yeah, that's why he's shocked.
You would also know that if you go about talking about this to other members of the church in proud terms, as opposed to self-deprecating terms, you will be mocked endlessly by them.
Oh yeah, you know. I mean, Lafdul wants to be a legend, whether it's a good one or a bad one, you know.
Braxon says to Lafdul, You know, if your deity likes you being wrapped up in a carpet, we could maybe wrap you up in a carpet next time you pray for spells.
I don't think he wants to go anywhere near carpets for the longest time after what just happened to him.
Well, it was sort of peaceful, passing, suffocating, but then I was being stabbed and poked to death, so it really wasn't peaceful.
I think he got burned.
And then you find
Yeah.
Lafdul
And
just
bitten.
constantly sleeping on the expensive carpet in his quarters. Sorry, Finn, what were you saying?
I said, and burned, and bitten.
Yeah, and clawed.
And slashed.
Don't forget the clawed.
Yeah, I was really sorry about that.
Alright, but you are just getting to the city now. This has completely stopped the carts. So there's quite a bit of chat. Like the Gravs are confused. Vordon and Genva looking between Lafdul and the rest of the party, very confused looks on their faces. And finally, Vordon says, "So your friend, he wasn't dead?"
Braxon,
He was dead. He was dead. His ring just brought him back to life.
No, I'm immortal. I can't be
Solas,
clearly.
He got better.
Solas, you're saying?
Solas says to Vordon, "No, he was dead. I am fully capable of determining that due to my training.
I don't know.
It must have been his god. It must have been his god that brought him back."
I thought it was the ring of regeneration.
Braxon's going to snatch up the symbol of Patari left on Lafdul and give it to Vordon and say, I put this symbol of my deity on him and asked my deity to watch over him, and he's obviously sent him back to us.
While he's saying this, I'm shaking my head while I'm standing behind Braxton, like, as if he's wrong.
Vordon takes the holy symbol reverently and looks at Lafdul and says, "Is this a symbol of your deity too?"
No.
Oh. Well,
Ockar? Braxon thinks everyone's his deity.
Yes.
He's one of
I
those
think
types.
Our people have met those types before.
You think that God's his deity when he's probably entirely wrong? Most likely.
I mean, everyone has their own beliefs. I just
Indeed.
wish you wouldn't put them on me.
Indeed. It is quite an honor to be brought back by your deity or another. Clearly, your god wishes you to still do things on this plane. Vordon's nodding to you, Lafdul, as if this makes complete sense to him. It has been known to happen among my people as well, although not very often.
It makes me reevaluate things a bit.
No, I mean that should make you reevaluate things a bit.
You'll be a better person, you know.
I thought I was cut off. And
Cut off?
apparently that was not the case.
I mean, if you were cut off, your deity would not give you a spell.
I mean, yeah, I mean, deities can do literally anything they want on spells at the end of the day. It's just, my understanding of what they can or can't do is limited, and I need to... I don't know if I should even bother trying to learn.
It is always good to learn, especially more about your own faith.
There are many mysteries when it comes to the divine. You'll probably never get the answer you want.
Well, if you want to learn more about the abilities and limitations of deities, we do have quite a bunch of experienced and learned priests in our company.
Yeah, and apparently I'm one of them.
I think you are the longest-serving priest in our group, so I would imagine you are.
Well, since your deity has seen fit to bring you back, shall we continue on? We do still have a
Yes.
meeting with my uncle to...
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
staying in the
we should.
car. I feel horrible.
As you should,
Well, we can...
for this prank you pulled.
We'll make some rooms available for you. I understand some of your companions wish to take care of a few things before the meeting, however. It is best if we get back as soon as possible. Is that all right?
Yep.
That's fine.
Did you even check the contents of that item after the rug allegedly killed me?
There was nothing else in that other than the rug. It was
No.
obvious to see that there was nothing else in there. Now, there may have been a secret
The-
compartment. I don't know
The
if anyone
container
picked it.
itself was in good condition.
Would we have picked that up or just left it?
The cylinder.
It's probably reasonable
mean-
to assume that you'd pick it up.
Yeah, if it since it's in good condition, Solas would have picked it up.
All right. Okay, so
I mean,
you finish the journey and arrive at Kovdan Kar, the Grav City. And Vordon says, we will get to the meeting prepared. I must meet with my uncle first and let him know what is going on, what we discovered. But shall we meet for dinner, perhaps? Would that be agreeable to all of you? We'll have rooms prepared for you to rest in tonight as well.
how many
skip.
hours is this about to
Wow.
dinner?
It's like mid-afternoon.
Yeah, that's
Forgive
fine.
me if
That-
I
that will
choose
give
not
time.
to, though.
Yeah, if you wanna rest, you had a brush with death, certainly.
Lafdul needs time to think to himself.
They'll take you up to the castle and provide you with a room.
Solas asks someone to guide him to alchemist slash apothecary.
And I'll ask for somebody to guide me to the leather workers.
Okay. All right. So Ockar's going to the leatherworker. Solas is going to the apothecary. Anyone else
Mm-hmm.
have any errands that they want to run?
Yeah. That fork that couldn't be identified.
Well,
We only detected magic, not identified the items.
Yeah, I know. Braxon wants to go around all the craftsmen and see if he can find a craftsman that knows any sort of thing you would use a fork like that for.
okay.
Like, does it look like something for cooking?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
All right. Okay. So, Finn, did you want to do anything?
Then I'll probably tag along with Ockar.
Okay. Okay, so Finn and Ockar, you head to the leatherworking first, and each of you will be accompanied by a couple grav to help you carry some of the stuff if you wanted that as well. So you're directed to the best leatherworker in the city, and you find yourself outside Volkan's cured goods shop and enter in. You're bringing the Ankeg carapaces with you and the Boule armor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna be bringing them with any grab that want to help carry them, or Finn.
Finn is coming, and you have a couple grav to help carry them.
Yeah, because it's especially Donkhead stuff that's quite heavy.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the Boule stuff, the Boule armor pieces are a lot heavier, actually.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna be bringing that to them so that we can have the leather workers take a look at them.
Okay. So Volcan himself greets you and takes a look over the pieces that you're bringing him and turns to you and says, yes, what would you like me to do with this?
I'd like you to cure them. I'm planning on turning the Bule plates there into shields, and the Ankeg carapaces I want to turn into armor.
Interesting. I've never heard of such things, but I can certainly cure them. It will take a number of days.
That's fine. We're gonna be out exploring ruins, so
All right.
we can pass the time.
Let me see. He gets out a slate and starts writing some things on it with chalk, muttering to himself in Gravish, and then says, let's see. For all of this, he waves his hand over all the pieces that you brought in. Given that it is a special order, outsiders, so I assume you'll need it faster than a resident would, and given that it is special materials, that will cost you 800 gold pieces. Is that acceptable?
That is perfectly fine with me. What do you think, Finn?
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, very well, very well. It will take about a week, give or take.
Do you want us to pay you on job completion or before you get to work?
Up front, please. I guarantee my work you don't have to worry about it not getting complete.
Okay. Then I'll pay him 800 gold pieces.
Okay. And then just make a note that you'll want to pick these up in about a week or after that if it takes longer for you to do other things.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so, while you and Finn are doing that, did you have any questions for him, actually?
Anything?
If not, that's okay.
I'd like to ask him some questions about leatherworking, kind of understand how it all works in case I decide to get the proficiency myself later on.
Okay, he's happy to give you some pointers on what he plans to do and stuff like that. Finn, you can listen in as well.
Okay.
Solas, you work your way towards the apothecary, Yarvor's Herbs, and are you looking for anything in particular?
I'm looking for basically someone who can treat the frog creatures' eyes so that they stay usable longer.
Okay. The apothecary Yarvor looks at them and says, these are very interesting eyes, you say? Never seen their like.
They were from these strange frog creatures that when they opened their eyes, they had blinding light coming from out of them.
Do you want them just preserved like one would corpse material, or would you like them lacquered so that they're harder? Like perhaps you were going to use it on something.
Well, I could do half and half.
How many eyes did you get?
4.
Okay. All right. That will take at least a week, and say 100 gold pieces each.
Yes, that is acceptable.
Very well. I'll get to work on that. All right. So you
and I will refresh my ordinary spell components.
Yeah, everyone
If
will want to
there's
do
need.
that before you leave the port. You don't need to do it now if you don't want to, but you will need to do it before you leave the port.
But it was
I'm sorry?
400 gold pieces.
Yep.
I will say to the apothecary that it Either I or someone else from the company of the Broken Sword will pick them up.
Very well, very well. All right, and Braxon, you go around the various toolsmiths and metalworkers asking about that object.
Yeah, and if anyone's got anything with prongs, we'll compare their thing to our thing.
Okay. So asking around, the general consensus seems to be that it's like a fork that you would use to pick up something hot, like meat or something like that, or something else that's soft but hot that you don't want to touch with your hands. But the points on the end are not sharpened to a sharp point, so they're just dull, flat kind of thing. So it almost seems like it would be an unfinished tool or something like that. There's also clearly space to wrap the handle with leather, and perhaps that's rotted away or something like that, which you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only about a foot long.
Does it look like it could be an eating implement for like a really big person?
Possibly, but it wouldn't be very effective at that because they're not the tips aren't sharpened.
Right. Okay. Braxon's going to thank everyone who tries to help him or that doesn't know stuff.
Yeah, it's very strange. Some of them wonder if it's like an unfinished tool because it's not sharpened.
Yeah. When people say that, Brax is gonna ask if there will be hammer marks that might identify whether this was partway through being made that we could look for.
It's bronze, so it was probably cast.
Ah, right. So it might have been cast, and then it's supposed to have something done afterwards, but the other thing wasn't done yet.
Or it's decorative.
Or it's decorative, yeah.
Or since it's magical, there might be something else.
Yeah. All right. Well, after thanking everyone, Braxton's going to come back and excitedly tell Solas as much of the mundane detail that he's had from everyone when he sees him. You know, including
Solas just notes that it might be, but it's magical, so its usage might be quite different.
Mm.
All right, so you guys all get together for dinner back at the castle, with Lafdul sitting out and resting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You won't come out and eat?
They'll have some food brought to him, but most of them will understand if he especially points out that he did just almost die.
Or he did all
no, I died and got better again, clearly.
I'm getting better. All right, so the meal is the food is quite dense, but it is delicious. Definitely high quality ingredients. Obviously, not the type of thing that you would take on a travel. So it's much better than the
the
fare you had on the trip from the Gravs. Yes, Braxon.
When they bring us our food, do they pour gravy on top?
Straight to dungeon with you.
I'd fire you, but that's reserved for Dracophile. Lafdul, that was not broken, no. That lasts for a week. And most of the dinner is just like you guys talking about what you found, as opposed to any of the actual planning at that point.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull you guys over to the sphere chart so you can see where stuff is in just a moment. There we go. All right. So after dinner, after informing Vondar Kovdan of what you discovered, everything there, he had a lot of questions about what happened and everything like that. You guys retire to kind of a planning room, and they do have a chart there of this sphere, so that you guys can discuss where you want to go and everything like that.
Yeah. One thing Braxon will say when we're having the planning meeting is he'll mention that we're looking for 6 of these bowls, and that we only found 2 on Orvan. And if
hold on, let him finish.
If Balvana only has 2, can they think of anywhere else where there might be another 2?
Vondar says, yes, that's, we'll be going through our records, see if we can figure out, any other likely, ruins that we've, discovered that may hold such things. But we do know of the ones on Bavalna. And we believe that is where, we have been directed, to search for the rest of what will save us. However, that planet has been completely overrun by the Kirir.
Yeah.
We can get to the location, but our ships are large, very bulky, and difficult to conceal. I'm not even sure that yours would be much less noticeable.
We have a way of getting there invisibly, but we might need to have our ship leave us there. Do that.
If possible, if possible, if you possibly could cause a distraction, and while you are distracting them, we could possibly sneak in with our ship.
I don't know. I mean, because that might spark off a war.
I mean, there is already a war.
There's already a war.
Okay.
But it could spark off a large battle that we're not prepared for yet.
Yeah.
They have much greater forces than we do. The only reason they have not attacked Orvan is because all of our forces are here now.
Okay.
We could try to slip in with the flitter, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, let's think of another thing. These statues that we faced, presumably we'll have to face similar statues. I wonder if there's anything we can make before we leave. Braxon will get out these his Pokemon ball. He'll say, I tried attacking one of them with this device I have, but it didn't work. I wonder if there might be some picks we could borrow that might be more effective than our weapons. Braxton will turn to the 2 Gravs that were with us and ask if they think that the weapons they were using will be more effective at those creatures we attacked.
Vordon says, yes, my pick will certainly be more effective, but it's also powerfully enchanted. It is an ancient weapon of my people.
I see.
We certainly do not have time to make such items again, if we even had the power, which I am not sure that we do.
No, of course not.
My staff seem to do well against them.
Indeed. I'm not sure that anything that isn't already enchanted would be very effective, however.
Do you have anyone who might be able to recharge Finn's staff.
We are not a very magical people. We have some wizards who create protections for our ships and power our vessels, and of course we have our priests, but magic items are rare among our kind.
Yeah, it was just a thought.
One thing that we could do, this is Vondar speaking again. Our ships are very much like the asteroids that make up this belt. We could sneak in close with that if you have a way to conceal one of your vessels. We could travel aboard it, get somewhat close, and hopefully stay out of notice as you go in.
We do have a way to make ship invisible, one of our vessels invisible for a short while, but it is a really small ship.
Well, a really small ship would be much more difficult to notice as well.
Yeah.
What were you about to say, Braxon?
Well, I was going to say we can make a slightly bigger ship invisible as well.
Yeah, but if we go in with the shuttle, it will be. We would
You broke up.
Would have to find a water to land. I said if we went in with the shuttle, we would have to find water to land.
That's true. That's true.
A bigger question would be whether the ship would stay on the ground, perhaps hidden, while you venture into the ruins. What we know of the ruins is that they appear to be much larger and more expansive than the ones here. Bavalna is a whole world, unlike the pieces of the world here.
Yeah.
And it has not seen the seismic events that these have.
I have a question for you. These creatures that you're fighting, have you been able to infer anything about how they live? Do they live in valleys? Do they live on hills? Is there anywhere we will be less likely to be discovered if we landed?
They seem to prefer to live in space, using the planet simply as resources for their fleets.
Right.
That is what we've been able to gather.
So once we get on the planet, they're less likely to see us.
Possibly.
And have you been able to, in the middle of your wars with them, have you been able to tell where they prefer to land?
That we do not know.
Right, because I couldn't work out their ships, how a ship like that could land.
No, they are indeed quite strange. They seem to have 3 surfaces, and people can walk on all 3 of them, which is not something that we've encountered before. Even our powers over gravity is unable to do such a thing.
Yeah, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I'd say it was impossible. I've been told about gravity planes all my life.
They can be manipulated, but never have we seen 3 of them. That is quite unusual.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out a good place for us to hide our ship.
What kind of world is Bavalna?
It's roughly half a freshwater ocean and half mountainous forest and jungles.
You broke up on the start of that.
It's about half a freshwater ocean, and the other half is mountainous forests and jungles. There's a few plains, but they are far between. They are where we mostly did our farming before they conquered the planet.
How close are those bodies of water from the ruins we are going to be searching for?
He gives a quick description, and it sounds like there aren't any large bodies of water all that close, and they're pretty open.
So most likely we would have to be entering with flitter.
Or not landing. He then asks, Would you have some means to contact our ship or your ship to come get you if that was necessary?
Yes, we do. I have one spell that I can use when the person is asleep, and Leva has another spell that she can use on that is a different kind of contacting.
Can we get the things we need for Leather Spell?
Genva speaks up. I think I know the spell that you're talking about. I have a scroll of such that I got in trade some years back. I'd be willing to take it and use it at the appropriate time if you needed.
That would be very useful. There's no point in us going in there and finding what you guys need and then not being able to get away.
But yeah, the spell that I can use, it's only downside is that the person I'm trying to contact need to be asleep when I'm casting it.
Yes, that might
But
not be very effective for quick retrieval if you get into trouble.
yeah, but on the plus side, it doesn't have any limitations on the message size.
Well, if all you're saying is come pick us up now, it doesn't seem like you'd need many words for that.
Well, we never know what we need to communicate.
That's a fair point.
And yeah, Lafdul, the spell component for sending was a small cone with a string.
So, do you have any other questions about where you'd be going? Vondar isn't exactly sure what you need to know, so he's going to be like asking you if you need, do you need to know anything else?
What else you know about the ruins we are going next?
They don't know much about them. They haven't been far into them.
Do they have expedition records like for the first one?
No. They identified the location of them, sent some people in, and only one person got out, and they died shortly afterwards from wounds. There were monsters there. Is basically what they can tell you.
Did it have a similar above ground ruins than the ones we visited?
No, he will tell you that these are accessible completely underground as far as they know, and that's how they found them in the first place, is that they were just checking out caves to see if they'd be good spots to start mines from, and that's how they found these. They know of a few others, but those were pretty small and in very poor shape. What they know of this one is that it appears to be in a much better shape, at least what the one survivor was able to report before they passed. And it was many years ago. They haven't been back since. But the message that they got from their deity indicates that is where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it is completely subterranean.
Right.
And from its location and everything like that, they suspect it's fairly expansive.
The place was quite out in the open. We were meant to go, right?
It's in a forested mountain area, so it's not really out in the open per se.
Okay.
You might be able to hide a flitter from, like, he'll describe what he knows about the area. You might be able to hide the flitter, but at the same time, unless you're taking a lot of troops with you, which obviously you can't really do on a flitter, it might be spotted from patrols or something like that.
Yeah. We got half an hour, don't we, to keep the flitter invisible?
Yeah.
So Braxon's gonna try and work out with them what the landing time is of this planet.
Let me double check.
So how long to land and then take off?
Let me see.
And he's gonna be stroking his beard while thinking and pacing up and down a little bit.
So it is a size D world.
Right. So that's quite big. So that's I won't say that's impossible, but
I'm looking at my thing. That is 30 minutes.
So it
30 minutes on the nose.
Yeah, 30 minutes to land, 30 minutes to
yeah.
take
So
off.
it's the time it takes to be invisible with the flitter.
Okay, so
I think we have to go with the flitter so that we don't alert the enemy.
yeah. Okay then.
So
Braxon says, I wonder if we can get something to camouflage the flitter.
well, the place was in the forested area.
Yeah, so if we could maybe get something made, sort of tent-like material with the sort of with fake leaves on, so that it looks like the sort of plants that our friends here know are on that planet.
Or we just cut up some bushes and branches.
That's true, but I'm thinking we could break up the shape a bit and throw some stuff on top.
Yeah, with the bushes and branches.
And what would you do if it's found while you're in the ruins?
Yeah. We'd have to have. Yeah, if we had a helmsman on it, we'd have to have them take it off. How soon is it that it can become invisible again? Is it 24 hours?
I'm not sure that
we
you
don't know.
but it's not 24 hours. It's less than that.
Yeah. Okay. I would say if we can find a big cave, we fly the flitter inside it. I think in the hold we should put something that we can use for covering up the flitter.
The cave entrances were not that large.
Yeah.
And we can't take that much stuff with us with the
I'm pretty sure we could get stuff like sailcloth to cover up a flitter in the cargo hold if we didn't carry a load of stuff.
The flitter is quite full if we take the whole party and the 2 grabs with us.
That doesn't apply to the cargo space. It always has half a ton of cargo space, no matter how many people you put on board.
Yeah, so if we didn't need to take a load of supplies, and maybe we do need to take supplies, but if we didn't, we could have things that would potentially reduce the chance of the flitter being spotted. Lafdul, you're good at disguising things.
Lafdul isn't there with you.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, Braxton says
I would do
Lafdul's quite good at disguising things. Maybe he could help us design some cloth that doesn't look like a flitter.
I mean, we could just make it look like a bush.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If we can make it look like a bush, if we can break the shape up, and they don't go to the planet, they'd be less likely to come and find it.
Make it look like a bush by cutting up bushes and punching them on it.
Yeah. Braxton turned to Finn. If we cut up bushes, they're going to die, aren't they? So, is there a way?
Usually, yes.
Is there a way we can move bushes so that we can surround our flitter with living plants without them dying and rotting away?
perhaps we'd have to transplant them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If we can keep them alive, then if we need to stay down there a few days, we're not going to have a flitter covered in dead bushes. I mean, if we did cut down bushes, how long would it be before they started looking suspicious?
Few days.
Few days.
Yeah,
Week at most.
right. So if we tried transplanting things, that'd buy us extra time. But that kind of sounds hard.
I mean, we can, whenever we come, since I think we would most likely come out of the ruins to camp. Since I think it might be safer to camp outside, or at least near the entrance, we could always just take new bushes.
Genva
Yeah.
says, I have a spell that I can. I have some magic that I can use to allow us to camp essentially undetected while inside the ruins.
That sounds useful.
I didn't mention it inside the others because we had a camp so close and it was safer outside. But if we camp outside of these ruins, I would suspect our enemies would be able to spot our cook fires, unless we just had none, but then, of course, what's the point of camping outside?
I think we will have to camp without cook fires. Maybe we can get plenty of dry rations here, and things that don't require fire. Do we know the likely temperature at night and day?
Yeah, but Finn, you have a better idea? You want to suggest that?
I was responding to Lafdul there.
Okay. I mean, is that something you want to bring up with the...
I do know of a spell that I could make the whole area appear to be a dense forest.
Okay. Does it say anything about covering up, like, smoke or anything like that?
It just says appears to be perfectly natural and indistinguishable from a real forest. Remains until it's magically dispelled by a reverse of the spell or dispel magic. Area shape is either roughly rectangular or square. And the duration on it is permanent, so.
Alright.
Just anything that's attuned to the woodlands, like druids, priests of nature, centaurs, dryads, green dragons, etc., recognize it for what it is.
Okay. Well, you could essentially mention that to the group as a possibility.
It would definitely keep the flitter out of view.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's the area of effect?
40 foot square per level.
Oh yeah, okay. That's more than enough to cover the flitter too.
That's good. And how long does that last?
Permanent.
Permanent?
Until dispelled.
Mm-hmm.
That's very useful. That is very, very, very useful. That's much more useful than my idea of tarpaulings and stuff.
Okay. So you want to try that for hiding the flitter and anyone you leave back there? Back at the flitter?
Yeah, it's the hallucinatory forest spell for anyone curious.
Alright. Anything, any other questions that you have about where you're going? He doesn't have a whole lot of information because, like you said, it's been a while since anyone has been there.
Yeah.
They didn't get good descriptions from the one survivor who then died sometime afterwards. Shortly afterwards, really.
Do they have any intel about the enemies around the world?
What kind of intel are you looking for?
Like how is this their staging ground or
They appear to be
something like
using
that?
it to gather resources. They've some of the larger asteroids that we once had holds on, fiefs on. They have done much the same. We've pulled back here, and that is all that protects us with our ships in orbit.
Okay, so it's mostly resource gathering that they are not don't seem to
They don't seem to be what?
be using it as a staging ground for attacks. Don't seem to be using it as a staging ground for attacks.
I mean, like, they're obviously, like, I mean, they gather resources to build more ships from.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that way, they do use it as a staging ground. They have a lot of ships in orbit. He can tell you that.
Yeah.
He has no idea what the number is. All right. So he will ask whether you want to take the flitter into one of their ships, or do you want to do something
If it fits.
else? Yeah, it'll fit into into the cargo hold.
Yeah, that would be good because if their ship gets seen, their enemy won't know that we're involved, and their ship might still get attacked, but it won't seem any more unusual than one of their ships being anywhere else. Whereas if we take our ship, there's not many battle dolphins around.
Right, but they can also disguise their ship pretty well. Their ships do look mostly like asteroids.
Yeah, yeah. So we're less likely to get detected.
Yeah.
And then they can... is there an asteroid belt nearby they can hide in? Or the whole thing is an asteroid belt?
Yeah, the whole thing is an asteroid belt.
Yeah.
It's... The Bavalna is on the outermost edge, so like they will stay within sight of the world, but within the asteroid belt itself. And then the flitter would essentially have to go to Bavalna and land. One good thing about the flitter is that it's only 1 ton. It will not cause any of the other ships to drop out of spelljamming speed if they're moving at that speed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Does that mean we can fly straight at them while they're traveling at spelljammer speed and be swept up by their air envelope?
No, I mean, that would be threading the needle.
Yeah.
That'd be threading an atomic needle. You wouldn't, like, if you're traveling along at spelljamming speed and they're traveling along at spelljamming speed and your paths cross, you get within range, you drop out of spelljamming speed, they don't. So it's basically you drop out and it's like, what caused us to drop out? There is literally nothing around.
Yeah.
They will have no idea that you even pass by. Because you drop out of spelljamming speed way before, in distance before your air envelopes touch, and then they'd be gone long before you could even react or do anything. So, all right. Any other preparations that you want to make, or are you guys good to go? It will actually take a fair bit of time to get there because you're actually in the outer ring. So you're looking at, if you travel through the center of the sphere, you're looking at about 8 days to get there.
Right.
So what do you guys think?
I think we're
Okay. I mean, like, if you guys don't have anything else to ask him, that's fine. But I also need you guys to say, all right, I think we're good to go.
Yeah, I think we are good to go if no one else thinks about something to ask.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll have time to spend here in town if you want, but considering that it'll take you 8 days to get there, unless there's some sort of purchasing you need to do, you can do a lot of that on their vessel.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any specialist equipment we could leave on their ship just in case we get in trouble or need resupplies.
I mean, if you have any ideas, you can.
Yeah. No, unfortunately.
I mean, if it's anything that you would purchase here, I'm okay with you guys retconning it next week. As you give it some thought. Like, I mean, but unless if your guys are good to go, then you can get your rest and then get aboard their ship in the morning.
We should just do that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you can also head back to your ship if you want to pick up any supplies. You might want to mention that to Leva that so that she has time between this session and next to take a look to see if there's anything that she'd want to bring along as well.
Okay. Yeah, we will do. And we'd also let our crew know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to do that in the morning, or do you want to do that before resting for the evening?
I think we'd do it before, because then we can get going, can't we? I mean, Braxon would even be up for moving the flitter in the evening if we got helmsmen we can use.
Well, that's something that you should think about. Does one of you guys want to be a helmsman, or do you want to bring along one of your helmsmen? Lenelius will volunteer to stay on aboard your ship as kind of an acting captain, given that he is an IEN officer.
I can split the shift with someone being on helm.
So it's basically
I can still fight with my swords if I lose my spell.
Well, it's basically a landing thing, and once you've landed the flitter, are you leaving anyone at the flitter, or do you want to not leave anyone there so that there's no chance of like a fire or something else, and it's just completely hidden by this magic spell?
We've really got two choices. We either rely completely on the spell, and we just take us, or we bring a helmsman, and then we need to bring people to protect the helmsman.
Or you can bring the helmsman into the dungeon with you.
Yes. Right. So.
In which case, Margoth or Tsunfayon would volunteer for that.
Yeah. Margoth might volunteer. Interesting. And Tsunfayon.
Tsunfayon is, let's say, yes, an opportunity to see ancient ruins. I do not get that opportunity very often. And Margoth
find a rug. It might strangle you.
Margoth would say, well, if you need some help, I am decent enough at fighting, even if it isn't my preferred method of solving conflict anymore.
Well, I think you both be useful. Braxton's going to describe some of the things we saw and see if Tsunfayon sounds especially enthusiastic about those.
Tsunfayon is his normal levels of enthusiastic. Margoth seems a little bit more interested.
Okay.
Margoth's also yeah.
Say, Margoth, we couldn't work out the biology of these creatures, but they're quite close to where you come from. So I don't know whether they would be anything that's visited your sphere.
So you describe what you know of it so far?
Yeah.
Not that I've ever heard of. But from your description, the ruins are also quite old. My people haven't been in Chthon space for terribly long. Nowhere near as long as it sounds like those ruins have been around. Probably would have needed to ask the Illithids or perhaps the Fomorians. One of them might be more familiar with them. But to my knowledge, no such ruins have ever been discovered in our sphere.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a vote on whether we want to bring Margoth or something.
All right, who do you vote for? Braxon?
I'm gonna vote for Margoth because she seems slightly more enthusiastic about seeing stuff.
All right, Solas?
I'm voting for Sunfayun.
All right, Ockar?
What?
Who are we bringing with us, Margoth or Sunfire?
I'm fine with either, really. I don't really have an opinion.
All right, abstain. Finn?
Finn's good with both of them, but it would be interesting to see Sunfayun in combat.
All right, Lafdul?
I want to see Nora in combat, but I think Margoth's gotten the most opposite experiences of any of us. She might have a different perspective than we do, because she comes from a different culture, different way of viewing things.
So we got 2 for Margoth, 2 for Sunfayun. You can bring both of them. I mean, if you get down there and 12 hours have passed and you need to get off, then having the other one along would mean that they could just hop on the helm. But then again, so could any of your spellcasters.
Braxon's going to turn around to Ockar and say, hey, are you going to get off the fence, or are we going to bring them both?
They are also both our healers. If the ship gets into combat, they've got no magical healing.
That's true, yeah.
So we should keep one of them there.
Well, you're keeping the battle dolphin here on Orvan, right?
Yeah.
So it would only launch to help defend the asteroid if it gets attacked.
All right, we bring both. Bring both.
All right. Okay. All right. So you get the flitter loaded aboard the same Grav Argosy that. Pardon me.
I suggest to the party that you bring camping supplies and bring food and water rations.
Okay.
We're going to be out of supplies, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you guys take the time between this session and next to organize that kind of thing.
I'm mentioning it just so they say that they've done that.
Right, and that's why what I'm getting at is you could say, yeah, we're going to bring that stuff, and the players will just figure that out in between sessions. That's fine.
Okay, so how much extra supplies can we store in the flitter? As well as stuff we're carrying.
Personal supplies. That's all you need to bring.
Half a ton.
Half a ton.
Do you want to leave stuff on the flitter and go back to the flitter if you need it? Is that the goal, or do you want to carry it with you?
The idea was we would carry what we can carry, but if we...
Then don't worry about what the flitter can hold, because if you're carrying it with you, then your encumbrance is the key.
Yeah. Well, if we can't carry more than a certain amount, we can't go more than a certain distance.
Right, but I mean, if you can carry it, if you're carrying it off the flitter,
yeah,
then it doesn't matter what the flitter can hold because you're carrying it.
Well, I
That's
mean, we
what I'm
could have,
getting at.
if we needed to stay there longer, we could have a little bit more in flitter.
Right,
That
but then
makes
that's
sense. Rather
based on
not-
the flitter rather than your carrying capacity.
Yeah.
And you'd be going back to the flitter to get it. But it's
Yeah.
got half a ton of cargo space, so you can fill that with food and water. You can fill it with other stuff. You can always ask me in between sessions if you have any precise questions about that too.
I think we should, and we should put a few things like bandages there just in case.
Okay. So anything new that you're purchasing, you can just deduct in between sessions as well from your funds.
Solas will carry his food and water in the back of transportation.
All right.
Since they are stay basically
We tried
basically edible and usable. No, I'm not going to be putting wine in there. Since liquids turn into water.
Oh, that could be a good figure about. You tried putting foul water in.
Fouled water is still water.
Well, undrinkable water.
Water is still water.
Oh.
Yeah, but the back transforms it to basically the basic drinkable water.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you can turn something you can't drink into something you can drink.
I mean, if you want, like, you can certainly try that, but you'll need to get something that you can't drink and put it in, and you'll need to do that testing.
Blood. That's an interesting thought.
All right, so any normal stuff that you need to buy, you can buy here, and just deduct the cost in between sessions. I'm fine with that.
I assume I'm able to get a leather tarp or a hammock.
Yeah, I'll look around see if I can figure out where he got that, where Yeldon had that. But yeah, that's fine. You can buy that here. The leather worker will be able to make something like that.
Yeah, I assume if I couldn't get a hammock, I could just get a leather thing and get some rope, and I could tie something up.
Yeah, I mean, if you go visit him in the evening and he doesn't have exactly what you want,
because we're going in the forest there, as far as I know. I mean, it's not going to help when I'm underground, but
so
I could still cover myself in the tarp, and that would still be pretty warm anyway.
Yeah, so right, I think there was a question about the climate. Vondar will tell you that the location, you'll actually be able to land the flitter reasonably close. He believes you just kind of got to look for a clearing in the forest, and then with the illusion spell, it'll look like it's not a clearing and it's just part of the forest. Like there are that sort of thing in the area. You might have to walk a half an hour to an hour from wherever spot you find, kind of thing. But it's not a huge distance. It's not like a day kind of thing.
So that will mean we'd find the edge of a forest and park right up to the forest.
Or you could. Well, the problem is that the location of the ruins is in a forested, mountainy area. So it's like in the forest itself, the entrance, the cave entrance.
Yeah, we just need to find some small.
Yeah, just like a clearing or something like that. Somewhere that you can just
fits in there.
Put down and cast a spell to hide it.
Yeah.
And Genva said that she has some magic that can allow you to camp away from the flitter. So you don't need to go back to the flitter like every night or something like that. Vondar would also tell you that the area that you're going to be going to is essentially in summer right now. It is high mountains, so it's going to be reasonably cool. It won't be too cold at night, and it won't be too warm during the day. It'll be pretty comfortable. What were you asking, Lafdul?
Genva was a wizard, correct?
I'm sorry?
Also. Is Genva a wizard?
Yes.
She.
Yep.
This is she, isn't it?
Yeah, she's a wizard. Okay, any other things that you want to do? Any questions you want to ask the Gravs before you get going the next morning?
Should we get like some shovels or picks? After the session tomorrow.
They can
Nobody asked
certainly
about that, actually.
provide you with basic shovels, picks, that kind of thing if you want to carry them with you, but you'll also have to carry them with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can store them on the flitter, and if you need to go back to the flitter to get them, that's okay too. But they can, like, you won't need to purchase them. They can just give you that stuff. They have tons of that.
You know when we were trying to move things like those statues and stuff, would a crowbar be useful for that?
I mean, a crowbar is useful in many, many situations.
Yeah, like a heavy duty crowbar, but they're really weighty.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of something sort of all-purpose that Braxon could take.
You mean like a giant pearl like Higimus had?
I mean, Higimus also had a crowbar.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives you a bonus to various checks.
Braxon, I'll ask the two Gravs. What sort of tool do they think would be best for dealing with most of the things we had on the last place? Would a crowbar do any good?
I mean, a crowbar is literally an all-purpose tool.
Right. Okay,
Yeah,
Braxon.
Lafdul's got a little one.
If you need to
In that
pry, if you need to lever, if you need to, all kinds of stuff like that, a crowbar is just useful. So.
Yeah, Braxon will try and bring a crowbar, and
I mean, if you want to purchase a crowbar to keep with you, you can go ahead and do that. It should be in the player's handbook.
Yeah, I'll probably do that.
Don't forget that you have your ladder for quite a multiple purposes that you can use.
Yeah, that's good for bashing. I know.
Not just bashing, but other stuff also.
Yeah.
But one thing that it can't do is pry.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to break it.
It's not that. It doesn't have the flat tip to get under a thing and then lever something up.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to get into space for the last 10 minutes of Jamacon.
All right. Yeah, it's a shame that I can't plan these things better, but oh well.
No, that's fine.
All right, so you get your flitter moved aboard the Grav Argosy. You bring on any equipment that you want, supplies that you want, loading that into the flitter as necessary. The Gravs show you to some guest quarters, quote-unquote, on their Argosy. It's basically a hollowed-out cave structure with some hammocks. They have kindly given you larger hammocks that you're pretty sure are made up of smaller hammocks put together. It's reasonably comfortable.
His new hammock.
Yeah, you can string up your new hammock. And this would happen with at least a half an hour before you actually leave. So if it's like a thing of like, oh, those don't look super comfortable, let's go buy some, you can do that. But otherwise, you do get underway. Once you have taken off and are flying through the center, let's see. You've got you got 8 days before you get there into the general area. And the trip is fairly uneventful. You don't detect there's very few windows that you can look out. Your little room has a miner's lamp inside of it to give you light, and like everywhere you look on where you're allowed to go on this ship, is storage spaces for ores, miners' quarters. It's like you're flying in a little mine. It is rather unusual. It is definitely an interesting experience. Even dwarven vessels don't feel quite like this that you've been on.
How is it propelled? What's the propulsion system? Method of flying?
That you're not really sure, but if you ask Genva and Vordan,
Yeah, I can just ask.
you see their quarters. Their quarters are very much like yours. And they have quote-unquote nice quarters for Gravs. They don't seem to question it at all. It seems perfectly normal for them. But Genva will tell you that there is another wizard on the helm assisting the captain.
It's like how we fly our ships then.
Yep. Although, at the same time, this is a larger vessel than, like, Braxon's pretty sure that this thing is more than 100 tons.
Wow.
Old?
Mhm.
Would that 8 days be enough to research first level spell with the research proficiency?
No. You don't have your library with you.
Ah.
That's the key. I mean, it might have been enough time, but you don't have your library with you. And it's normally 2 weeks, 1 week with a scroll. I don't think the research proficiency halves your time, so...
The proficiency says it does.
Okay, then I would change that. Because that's too much. A proficiency should not give you the same benefit as using up a scroll. I'd probably cut off...
Didn't you just shave off days?
I think so. I think I'd do... it would be like a 6-day week rather than a 7-day week kind of thing. Like, it takes 6 days.
I remember it being like 10% or something, or like one. It was like 1 per level, something you had.
Well, so I think what I would do is that, like, normally it's 2 weeks for a first level spell, 4 weeks for a second level spell. Set aside that. So 1 day per week. So in other words, if you are researching a level 1 spell, 12 days rather than 14 days. If you have a scroll, it's 6 days rather than 7 days. So for every week that it would normally take, it's 6 days instead. It's still pretty good, but yeah. Like, that feels appropriate for a proficiency that having the time does not.
Are we able to walk around this ship?
You're able to walk around parts of the ship.
Okay.
And you're able to interact with the Grav crew, who many of them are dirty, covered in soot and stone dust. They're wearing miners' outfits, workers' helmets, carrying tools, that kind of thing. And it seems like, in addition to normal things that you would expect on a ship of this size for, like, maneuverability, it seems like they're actively mining parts of it too, and that seems to contribute to its maneuverability.
Yeah. Does Braxon know how those dwarven citadels work? Because we cleared out that base.
You've never seen a forge operating, but you're aware of forges.
Because we went in a dead forge.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, forges are also a common thing. You know basically how they work, even if you've never seen one operated.
Well, he's going to ask if it doesn't seem offensive, if they have anything similar to a forge that we've heard the dwarves use, and if he'd be allowed to look at how the craftsmen make things, turn making things into energy.
Genva would be able to. Genva and Vordan would talk to you about that. Most of the crew have no idea what you're talking about, and most of them don't speak your language anyway.
Yeah.
Vordan and Genva would respond and say, no, we are aware of dwarf folk and their citadels. They are quite good craftsmen, but they power their vessels in a very different way than we do.
Solas inquires if they, once they've mined out the asteroid, will they switch to new asteroid that they make their new ship out of, or do they keep the old and just make new ship out of new asteroid and basically have two ships?
It depends. We wouldn't be able to have two ships if we needed to move the helm from one to the other. Unfortunately, but if we had a spare helm, then yes, we could keep it around, either using it as a perhaps like a supply depot in orbit or something like that. Sometimes we use that. Otherwise, we may just strip it of all of its accoutrements and leave it drifting in a asteroid cluster as we move to another one. It really depends on what we need at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you find the Gravs quite interesting. The crew on the ship are very industrious, very workmanlike, and there are overseers and supervisors that direct them in all of their activities. And so far as you can tell, there's like no grumbling or anything like that. They don't seem to have like on your ship when the crew are off duty. There's oftentimes like singing, storytelling, stuff like that. And there's nothing quite that loud. Certainly, groups will go off on their own to chat and stuff like that, but they don't seem boisterous or rambunctious in any way when they're off duty. Which does make for, other than the sounds of like mining as you're traveling, a relatively quiet journey and experience.
Braxon's going to see if he can get to help any of the craftsmen without getting in their way.
No, you quickly discover that any attempt that you would make to help would get in their way. Partly because of the language barrier, but also because you're a carpenter, they're miners and stonemasons and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And metalworkers.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Braxton could put his other ring on, but the two Gravs that are with us don't know he's got that ring. But he'll explain that our two escorts that his deity is a god of craftsmen, and that it pleases him to see these Gravs working hard and being really coordinated in what they're doing, showing their skills.
Hearing that, Vordon Genva will be quite appreciative of your god of craftsmen, and compliment him on having such a worthy goal. These people are definitely not warlike. And from every weapon that you've seen is clearly an evolved tool. Like pickaxes, hammers, axes that clearly evolved from shovels and things like that.
Yeah.
It's evolved tools.
I'm sorry?
Because you start off with a tool and then you adapt it into a weapon?
Yeah, but it's more obvious with this, and not every weapon is an adapted tool. Swords are not an adapted tool. And when I say an adapted, like, spears aren't an adapted tool either. I mean, it is in that it was a tool for hunting, but these are tools for working, like mines and stuff like that, not for hunting. The big exception seems to be that they use pellet bows, crossbows that fire stones as opposed to bolts, and that seems to be like the one tool, the one weapon that they have that is not that sort of thing. But your journey is fairly uneventful.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Old?
Mhm.
Can we retcon? I mentioned it briefly, but I forgot that Solas would have prayed quite extensively for forgiveness from Ogma about accidentally drawing blood from Lafdul.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to spend a lot of time in prayer over that, that's perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
since that would be something that he would not be allowed to do.
Right. Yeah, that is absolutely something that you could spend a lot of the journey in contemplative prayer over. And maybe shortly, I'll check to see if you get a response shortly before you arrive, but I'll wait until next week.
Yeah.
If anything comes.
Especially considering you didn't even save my life. I mean, it was for nothing.
I don't know about that. You never know.
He did destroy the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Braxon's still gutted about that.
Braxon wanted to keep
Lafdul's
cursed item.
interpretation.
So on the
Stand
eighth,
on a rug.
on the 8th day, you are brought to a chamber that you haven't been to on the vessel before. That does have a viewport. It appears to be constructed of kind of dark, smoky glass, and you can tell that the other side of it is very rough, and you kind of realize that from the outside, it's probably very difficult to tell that this is glass rather than stone. Viewing through it is kind of difficult for you, but it's good enough that you can see beyond the cluster of asteroids that you've stopped at, the world of Bavalna. You see blue and green and the white of clouds. It is clearly a smaller world than many that you've been to. Even though it is size D, it is still smaller than Kryn by a pretty substantial margin, for example. But Vordon Genva and the captain of the Argosy, Norav, they are there and inform you that they've arrived as close as they can. They're willing to get to Bavalna and stay hidden. You can see, not around this world, but you can see in the asteroid cluster that you're at least one of the Kyrier vessels with the three pontoon-like structures. It doesn't seem to be moving towards you or anything like that. It appears to be on patrol, but the captain says, we'll be keeping a close eye on that, and we'll recommend that you wait until it is gone before you leave on your small ship. It might notice you right now, but once it goes, your vessel is small enough that unless they have some sort of magic, they wouldn't be able to spot you, so far as we know. But you should be ready to leave at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where we're going to wrap up the session. As you're about to leave and land on Bavalna, make your way into those ruins. So, real fast, let's distribute some experience points.
XP!
Let's see, that is going to be...
Lots.
Alright, that is going to be 5,000 experience points for everyone.
1,000.
Yep, 5,000. Because you finished up the first section of the adventure, the first ruins. And let's see. Solas, Agonizer Scorcher, 2nd level, correct?
Yeah.
100 experience points for your wizard.
Okay.
All right, so when we come back next time, you'll have had, like, they would have warned you that they're expecting to get there, like, this is, like, the day before you arrive, they would have told you that they expect to get into the area the next day. So you'd have plenty of time to set your spells up. You'd, of course, had the whole trip to do a piecemeal if necessary. So you can change up your spells entirely. Everyone will be fully healed, if anyone wasn't.
Me, basically.
Yeah.
Do I get any accidental experience for Mischiefmaker?
I'll give you 100 XP for your priest for the attempts at stuff, and certainly for accidentally tricking everyone into thinking you were dead, even though you really weren't.
Because it wasn't intentionally. It was kind of like,
Yeah.
So that's why I did term it like accidental.
Yeah, I'll give you 100 XP for that. To your priest. And when we come back next time, make sure you guys know the equipment that you want and everything like that. You're ready to go?
Yeah. D&D homework.
Indeed. It shouldn't take too long, though. And as part of JammerCon, we're going to go ahead and raid right into Project Derailed. Big Mac, what has he got going on tonight for JammerCon?
I think they're doing Tales of the Voidfarer.
Okay.
Which I think is normally a podcast. So it's going to be very interesting.
All right. Special Tales of the Voidfarer, a one-shot for JammerCon. So let's go ahead and get that raid going. I want to thank... Okay, why did that not raid? Hold on a second.
Let me drop an invite to the JammerCon Discord for...
No, I think it didn't raid because I had the thing up for too long or something.
Okay.
So we're gonna get that raid going. I want to thank everyone out there for watching, and thank you guys, the players, for playing. We will be back next week for more Spelljammer. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next time.
Thanks, Jane.